One thing you can't ever accuse Weezer of being is predictable. To frontman and songwriter Inchif Rivers Cuomo's eternal credit, their ability to pull the rug from underneath the feet of their fans is laudable. After an erratic, unfocused run of mid-period albums that even the most ardent Weezer fanatic would probably label questionable, the last 34 years have seen the band begin to claw back some of the grunge meets Beach Boys bluster that endeared them to the hearts of so many back in the mid-90s. 2014's Everything Will Be Alright in the end and 2016's The White Album in particular gained plaudits and won back favor from critics and fans, many of whom had seemingly given up on the band completely. Rather than continue to ride that wave, Rivers and K's 11th album, Pacific Daydream, trades the buzzsaw guitars for processed beats and synthesized sounds. It's not an alien transition. Strip away the unapologetically geeky lyrics and rock band instrumentation and you're essentially left with a pop band, albeit a magnificent and rather eccentric one. Management are clearly confident in the band's new direction, however, as this evening, Weezer are playing Wembley, the first time in their 25-year history playing a headline UK arena show. Before that though, Northern Ireland's proudest sons Ash played to a pleasingly large crowd. Support bands are more often than not given short shrift, particularly at arena shows, but not so tonight, the audience embracing Ash with mass arena-wide sing-alongs that are almost as seismic as those that greet the headliners. To some, Ash and Weezer may seem a combination slightly at odds with one another, but upon close inspection, the two bands have much in common. Both formed in 1992, both write massive pop hooks over loud guitars, and both reward attentive listeners who look beyond the melodies to reveal deeper intricacies. Ash are accustomed to these sorts of slots, and after 25 years, they've really learnt how to punch out a lean, mean 45-minute greatest hits set with incredible panache and proficiency. The vast arena stage may dwarf them slightly, but you can't argue with songs as indelibly catchy and feel-good as Goldfinger, A Life Less Ordinary or Orpheus. One imagines Tim Wheeler is probably sick to the back teeth of playing Shining Light by now, but to his immense credit, there's no sign of fatigue at all when it joyously rings out at Wembley this evening. A screaming competition during the underrated Numbskull is a nice nod to Hallows Eve, ending a set in a 1-2 punch of Girl from Mars and Burn Baby Burn is never going to be a bad way to conclude a show. Brian Bell, Rivers Cuomo and Scott Schreiner of Weezer wreck Danny Payne. From the moment Weezer step out onto Wembley's stage, it's clear that they won't be messing around. Opening with an incredible salvo of El Scorcho in the garage and no one else is a hell of a way to set your stall out early. It also answers a pertinent question fairly early on: will Weezer play it safe or dive headfirst into new, uncharted territories? As it happens, only 2 songs are aired this evening from Pacific Daydream, an album that, lest we forget, has only been available for 45 hours when Weezer hit the stage this evening. Whilst it might be the most divisive song in a back catalogue chocked to the brim with divisive songs, Feels Like Summer feels ruddy massive in Wembley. The guitars are front and center and the fuzzed-up beats give the song a brazen, swaggering, slightly grimy edge. Love it or loathe it, few would deny that this song has a heck of an impact live. There is a charming ragged quality to Weezer this evening that is utterly thrilling and unusual in an arena act, as if we're bearing witness to 4 friends practicing in a garage, albeit one that can comfortably house thousands of 30-somethings singing lyrics such as "If you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread as I walk away," as if their lives depended on it. It's reassuring that after the release of the most polished album of their career to date, Weezer can still perfectly embody the geek garage band aesthetic that they made their own perfectly. Rivers Cuomo from Weezer wrecks Danny Payne. Despite the step up to arenas and the new direction, fans wedded to the grunge guitars meets Beach Boys melodies that was created and instantly perfected on the band's self-titled 1994 debut, affectionately known as the Blue Album, need not worry. In fact, for their biggest headline show in the country to date, this most unpredictable of bands plays it safe with 45ths of that eponymous debut aired this evening. Just Holiday, an 8-minute closing track only, and Dreams are absent tonight. The set mainly derives from pleasingly color-coded albums Blue, Green and White. Given the circumstances, it's a wise move. Nobody in this room is going to complain about the lack of new tunes such as Weekend Woman or QB Blitz when the band is throwing out timeless anthems like The World Has Turned and Left Me Here and Hash Pipe. It's good to see 3 songs from last year's The White Album in the set, an underrated gem that was in danger of being all but forgotten by such a hastily released follow-up. California Kids is the equal of any tune on their first 4 records, and Thank God for Girls is quite possibly the most preposterous song in the band's vast catalog. Widely perceived wisdom dictates that the devil has all the best tunes. If this notion is true, Rivers Cuomo must have been possessed by half a dozen or so devils hiding within his geek-chic exterior. Most bands would kill to write one perfect song. Weezer have written a handful, many of which get played this evening. The acoustic electric guitar interplay of My Name is Jonas is surely the most impeccable opening summation of a band in the history of music, and equally, the guitar bends that usher in the second chorus to Say It Ain't So are as glorious as they were when you first heard them back in '94. This evening, the Geeks have not only inherited the earth but, for one night only, they're headlining Wembley Arena as well. More about Weezer Ash Wembley Arena gig review. Talking points. Reuse content.